All right, so we had a question come in this month as far as whether we can pay closing costs and charge interest on a HELOC. So we're going to pay them with the initial advance from the HELOC. So there's no federal regulatory prohibition on doing so. I would caution that it could be a state law issue, so you might want to make sure that you're okay there. But while there's no federal regulatory prohibition, there are some statement requirements in Regulation Z that you should be aware of. And sometimes these can cause challenges. So the open-end statement requirements in Regulation Z are found in 1026.7. And I am going to get a little Romanetti here because the regulation here is actually pretty short. We could probably memorize it together right here and now. But the commentary actually expands on this quite a bit. And so if this is an area where you're struggling or questions come up, the commentary does get into quite a bit more detail on the requirements. But so for HELOCs, those requirements are in 1026.7A. For other open-end credit, it's in 1026.7B. And so 1026.7A for HELOCs has a list of 10 things that you need to include on your statement. That includes A6, which gets into fees and charges. Now, this specific section for the HELOCs also allows you to use the option for other open-end credit. So we'll start with what I will refer to as the HELOC option. And it requires that any finance charge that is incurred and charged to the account needs to be identified as such on the statement as a finance charge. It needs to be itemized separately from any interest. And it also, like if you charge multiple different kinds of fees, those different fees need to be itemized as well. And this would include any account opening fees that are paid with, as the question mentioned, the initial advance. And then other charges need to be disclosed as well. Now, I alluded to that as a HELOC option. There is an other open-end option, and you still need to disclose any charges, but in that case, it's more of a table format, and they require specific headings, interest charged and fees. There's actually a sample form in Appendix G. It's G18A. And so if you are going to use this option, you'll definitely want to go and take a look at that sample statement in the appendix. The formatting needs to be substantially similar. I just want to caution you that I can't tell you how many times I've beat my head against the wall, because when you go to that form, it's obviously made for credit cards. And so while it gives you the general idea, it is kind of hard to, I guess, kind of transfer it in our minds to other open-end credit plans. But it is worth checking on. It's good to know your options and which one you're actually doing here. This is an area where we may need to educate auditors and examiners as far as, hey, there are options and this is what we're doing. It's one of these areas in compliance that we hope automation can kind of take care of it. We set it and forget it. We also know how well that usually does not work when it comes to compliance. My experience has been that sometimes the system relies on coding. When I was at a financial institution, we struggled so mightily with this. I think we just ended up not charging fees because it's like we can't do it right. And then, of course, you need to make sure that as updates happen to your system, that things don't get reset, as we sometimes see. So generally, this HELOC option allows you to just make sure finance charges are identified as such using that term finance charge, or you can take that other open-end option and use more of what I call a table and just make sure that your headings kind of line up with that sample form in Appendix G.